Hey devs, if your folder structure is like this, then you need to learn this type of folder structure. How I learned this: first, in the common, I defined some widgets like error text, loader, and sign in button. In the core, you define the constants provider, which consist river pod state management. Failure: in the failure, I created a class of failure which carries the failure message, and utils carry the snack bar. Okay, now in the feature, you define your screens in the subfolders. Like I created a auth folder in which auth consists its own controller and repository. In the controller and repository folder, I defined the functions of it, and in the screen it consists only two screens: login and sign up, right? And in the community screen, community has its own controller and repository and screens which consist its own functions, right? It will not mix up with the auth functions. And same as in the home screen, home has its own controller and repository which consists the home functions, home navigations, and home screen, right? And in the models, as you know, we create some community model and user models, right? In the route, I defined the router.dart in which all the navigation will be there, and in the themes I defined the colors, right? So that's all. You need to learn this kind of folder structure to the betterment of your image. If you use methods instead of widgets, then don't use methods from now. Use widgets instead of this, because extracting widgets to a method is considered as a Flutter anti-pattern. Why? Because when Flutter rebuilds its widget tree, it calls the function all the time and again, making more processor time for the operations, while a stateless widget will be rendered once and will not be updated themselves. So in that case, use widgets instead of functions. Okay. Hey devs, if you want to go from this to this kind of image asset, then you just need to create asset store class in which you define all your assets. Managing assets can be very hard if you want to use an image several times in your whole app and you have to specify the path again and again. But there is a much easier solution. Create an asset store class where all your assets will be stored, like I created, as you can see. And now you can easily call your asset with asset store dot, like if I do this, home card, image 1, search image, and all of this. Okay, thank you. Use async await instead of then. There is no meaningful difference between them. Both can achieve the same result, but await can often save you a bunch of lines of code and making your code easy to understand and easy to read. So try to use async and await in your functions. Define small widgets. Why to define small widgets? Like I did in the one image, I show some text button and 3 containers, then text button, so it creating a mess of code. So to use small widgets in your code that lead to code that is more readable and easier to reason about. Like on the right hand side, as you can see, I created login button widget, card 1, card 2, card 3, and then logout button, which is easy to understand what I'm doing here and what these widgets about. 5 is avoid a stateful widget. Why to avoid a stateful widget? Basically, stateful widget can rebuild itself and also decreases the performance of your app or code. Try to avoid using the stateful widget as much as possible. Use it only if it's necessary. Otherwise, use a stateless widget instead. Okay. Tip 7. Use enums in Dart. What are enums? Enums are enumerated types, also known as enumeration or enums, are primarily used to define named constant values. The enum is a keyword is used to define an enumeration type in data. The use case of enumeration is to store finite data members under the same type of definitions. If you use class extend, it would be hard to discover what the other state. Which constants in the enum could be used to define. Within enum, even a single switch statement will complain if you don't fill in all the cases. For further information about enums, please visit the link mentioned in the description. Thank you. Tip 8. Better error screens. I know this red screen is very irritating for me. So if you want the better error screen, or if you want to display your error in a better way, then you can design your error screen like this on the right hand side. That's all, Flutter developers. These are all 8 useful tips for Flutter developers, especially for beginners. Let me know in the comments if you know any other useful tip about Flutter, and let me also know in the comment that on which topic you want the next video. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.